start the recording. And I'm going to say good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. We're going to kick off our morning. Oh, wait, I want to go advanced. I'm just going to share the sound this morning because it's not a video. And this is Eddie Watkins Jr. Oops, did I share it? It doesn't look like I'm, oh yes, I did. I hate it when it tells me that. This is I Am a Place Where God Shows Up. I love this song. I think I've played it before, but you'll enjoy it, I'm sure. And here we go. Can you hear it? Good.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God lives. You are the place. Moves and breathes and has we are the place, where God shows up. I am the place.
We're Matt and Ralane, founders of Chocolate Chocolate. Our dream was to build a sustainable chocolate company.
And our business has become way bigger than just chocolate.
Chase for Business was there with us from the beginning, with everything our business.
You're muted. You are muted. Oh, there.
I got it now. I was trying to get back to the Zoom page. I couldn't get to the page to just stop the YouTube video before it got to the commercial. Oh wow, such is life.
I kind of wanted some of the chocolate.
I'm like, oh, my screen was telling me you can't minimize if you're recording. It's never told me that before. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, here we are. Oh, gotta love technology. It is really a blessing. So I want to welcome our practitioner of the day, Ralane Clarke. Morning, Ralane, and hello to everybody that popped on. Hi, I see Betty and Rob and Lisa, and so good morning, Ralane. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let's just close our eyes after that beautiful song and just feel the presence of God. Feel the love and the flow and the ease. Feel the beauty and the joy of this moment. And knowing that we're one with joy and flow and ease and beauty and peace and love, all the goodness of God right within us. And we're one. We're one with everyone here. We're one with everyone in the One Heart, One Mind community, and we're one with everyone in the world, all sentient beings. And I know that today's service is absolutely perfect in every way and feels wonderful and good to all of us and moves us into higher energetic levels of spiritual expression. And so I'm so grateful for Reverend Michelle, each and every one of you, our great music that Michelle picks out, and for God, for Spirit. And so I'm grateful, and I have a tremendous amount of love in my heart in this moment for all of you and God and everyone and everything. And I simply release this prayer into divine law, knowing this so. And I simply say, so it is. So, kind of like what Rob always says, I really don't have any idea what Reverend Michelle's really going to talk about. She gives me an idea, but then, so I'm not really, I'm just going to go with some thoughts I had. I heard Nancy Pelosi talk on an interview, and she was talking about how she became the first woman leader of the House, and the interviewer asked her, if she had any advice for any women that want to be leaders in our country. And she said, yes, my advice is for them to be themselves and to be proud of themselves. And I thought that was good advice for men or women who want to be leaders. And I know that we all are leaders, actually. And it's also advice, you could see a mother or grandmother give to their children. And Deepak Chopra also, I was reading one of his many books, and he said when he was talking to his children, when he was raising them, he said to them, don't try and obtain things in your life, in your path. There's two really important questions that you want to continually ask yourself. He said this to his children. He said, how can I be of help? And can I be of service? And so I felt that these two people gave sage advice for all of us. And as a teacher and counselor and practitioner, I've learned that I've had the honor of working with so many people in my lifetime, and from young to old, and even end of lifetime. And what I experienced was that everyone is so unique and so special, and that everyone has these unique, special gifts. No one's the same. And it's really, truly will be a wonderful world when we all realize this, that we all have so much to give. We all have so many gifts within us. And the more we express our gifts in the world, the better our world will be. And so I was thinking that, going back to Nancy Pelosi and Deepak Chopra, when we live our life, we grow a lot. Hopefully that's the plan, that we grow and we learn about ourselves, and then we become more of who we are. But one of the things that happens is that we change along the way, continuously. Sometimes we don't always realize that. And so what I believe is that we're continually reintroducing ourselves to ourselves. And that's so important, because what we wanted 10 years ago or 5 years ago or a month ago or even an hour ago could be entirely different and will probably be different. And while we're changing, the world is changing and all people are changing. So it's really important to embrace change. And I believe it's very important to embrace ourselves with self-compassion and kindness as we are learning to find ourselves over and over again and be more of who we are in this world. And so be yourself, be proud of who you are, always be of service, and how can I help? And so it is.
Wow, beautiful. Oh, that was just lovely. I got so much out of that, Ralane. You know what I realized as you were speaking was that all of the things that we, as you were saying, all our desires, our needs, our wants, they all change. But really, at the core of who we are, we all just want to be loved and feel good. That part of us never changes, right? But everything else floats by. Thank you for that. That really made me think and open up. I appreciate that. Oh, and you know what? I do have August's affirmation. It's Ernest's affirmation.
That's great. Peace, poise, and power are within me, for they are the witnesses of the inner spirit of truth, love, and wisdom. And I am at peace within me, and all respond to the great calm of the inner soul. I rest in security and peace, and for the inner light shines forth and illumines the way. Ernest Holmes.
He certainly had a way with words. So I have another song that I want to share with you. Just my computer audio. It's not a video, so I'm just sharing the computer audio here. But I think this is Karen Drucker, our wonderful friend. And this song, I think I've played it before, but it's called Brave. And I think that it fits with today's topic because we're talking about things that we encounter that might be a little challenging in our humanness, kind of as Ralane talked about. But I love what she has to say about being brave.
If I just show up, be open to surprise, there could be miracles right before my eyes. If I just let go, something better might appear. Who knows what will happen when joy replaces fear? When I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, unstoppable and free. I shine my light, I turn darkness into light. When I dare to be brave. When I dare to be brave. I'll trust in who I am, be bold and take a shot. Who knows what will happen when I give it all I got? Even when I'm scared, I'll step into the ring. I've got so much to offer with the gifts that I can bring. When I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, to be brave. Oh, I'm brave. I've worried for so long and I've wasted too much time. Now I'm ready to take the chance and claim what is mine. The path is free and clear. There's nothing in my way. I listen to my heart and not what other people say. I'm gonna take that leap. I've never felt so strong. I might not do it perfectly, but I'm right where I belong. And when I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, I'm unstoppable and free. I shine my light, I turn darkness into light. When I dare to be brave, when I dare to be brave, nothing's gonna stop me. Nothing is in my way. 'Cause I'm brave, I'm brave. I'm gonna be brave.
Sometimes we have to call on a little bravery, don't we? A little courage. I love that. Oh, it's so good to see all of your faces. I kind of want to, I'm going to put mine back to gallery view just for a minute so I can see everybody. I usually try and record on speaker view, but just want to see everybody. Oh, it's so good to connect. I'm so happy we're all here. And so I'm going to put my view back on speaker here while we're recording. So I just want to, as always, say again, a good morning to all my friends of One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And if you're in real time, like all the people I just said hello to or replay, I'm just glad you're connecting with our community. And as I said last week, our focus this month is some areas of our human lives that we usually talk about. You know, things that even in our spiritual communities, we tend to steer clear of because we want to stay focused on the potential and the possibility inherent within our divine nature. And as well, we should. However, and I said this last week too, I think we can do both. Acknowledge what is or what might have happened and still stay grounded in that higher vibration of our source. You know, we're human beings and we're blessed with this conscious mind that reasons and takes in all kinds of information from our experiences and from the world around us. And this shapes our perception, right? But we also have this subconscious or subjective mind that collects and stores patterns of our thinking and feeling, which are created from these perceptions that we get from our experiences and from the world around us, you know, and some are wonderful patterns of love and peace and comfort, and they truly support us on our human journey. And some patterns are not so wonderful, and they're created pretty much from the energy of fear, from what we've learned or experienced. And that energy can get locked into our subjective mind because, you know, we either try to ignore or avoid it in an effort to really kind of keep ourselves safe. But when these patterns are based on false beliefs, then they show themselves, they show up when something triggers that old pattern, you know, which could be seen as a blessing in disguise because it presents us with an opportunity to heal them when they float up, when they bubble up to the top. So if we're willing to look at these things that bubble up through the lens of our higher divine self, which is always this strong, safe, and secure place or vibration, if we resonate at the level of love, then we can look at them safely. And love, as we say over and over in this philosophy, is transformative. And our subjective mind, it doesn't speak English or Spanish or German. It speaks the language of energy and vibration. Feeling is what matters to our subjective mind. And when we feel good, when we resonate at the level of God's goodness and love, that's what we demonstrate most of in our lives. So healing our patterns that are based on fear is necessary for our growth and our evolution. And we can safely acknowledge and release this old stuff, these stuck patterns, through whatever method we choose, which will lead us to a life of freedom and joy. Now, the methods we'll talk about in a minute. They're spiritual practices like forgiveness and prayer. But when we release these old patterns, they really do open the door for a life of freedom and joy. Our liberation isn't based on becoming something that we're not. It's a process of kind of peeling away the things that we're not, and to embody the magnificence of who we already are. And we'll talk about the spiritual practices that support us in doing that. Because when we make that space, then what is possible can flood in, can flow through us. Now, if you're like me right about now, you might be saying, look, I've been doing this work for years. I don't think I have any more patterns based on fear left in me. I can hear myself saying that. But my experience is that these old patterns are pretty darn stubborn. And while you've probably come a long way in your spiritual growth and your spiritual evolution, stuff still comes up, but just in a much more subtle way. It still floats to the top. And when it does, it's just one more opportunity to feel the transformative power of love. And we also have to remember that we share a collective consciousness with the whole of mankind. And there's some negative stuff in there, and it can have an impact on us. But as we move into that higher resonance of our wholeness, we can contribute to the healing of the entire collective consciousness of humanity. Our input matters. It's powerful. In the Science of Mind philosophy, we teach that there's a place within us that is changeless, an essence that has never and can never be wounded or altered in any way, is the presence of the divine, our source. And this is the higher reality of our being, and it's the infinite presence within us. It's our oneness with our source, and this is the part of us that will continue long after our human bodies go back to the dust of the earth. And it's this reality that strengthens and supports us so that we can have that safe space to walk through the inevitable ups and downs of our human lives. Well, I have a quote that I wanted to share from our founder, Ernest Holmes. He wrote this. He wrote this about that. This is what I almost said. He wrote this about that place within us. There is something within you beyond all doubt and fear. Something which has never been limited by I should put my glasses on. Something that has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. This is the only something that can make you whole. The only something that can make you whole. I love that he calls it a something. And if I might be so bold as to clarify Holmes's words, we are already whole. Our wholeness is expressed when we remove any beliefs that are contrary to the truth of our wholeness. And that is the truth of our being. We are already whole. So as we move into alignment, I love that word, alignment, matching up, or our vibrational resonance with that something that Holmes refers to, we strengthen our ability to see all of our human experiences through that lens of wholeness, through that perception, through that place within us that knows and feels the safety, the power, the strength of love, which is much greater than any human condition or circumstance. It's much larger. When we were doing the meditation today, I guided us through seeing a human condition through that place. So today I'm asking us to look at the things in our lives that we've encountered had a really deep impact on us. It, could be a physical impact or an emotional impact, or maybe both at the same time. And to look at them from that sacred place within us, from that something that Holmes talks about, our divine nature. And we could call these very impactful experience traumas. I kind of steer clear of that word because it has such a negative connotation. But trauma comes from a Latin word that really just means to twist or pierce, to wound or hurt or defeat. It's not really a particularly feel-good word, but keep in mind that traumas are relative. Some little thing can be a trauma to me that might be nothing to you, or, something that's traumatic to a child, for instance, could be seen as pretty minor to an adult. And regardless of what it is, it doesn't really matter. Whatever the cause is, a trauma is something that happens that's upsetting. Honestly, it really doesn't matter what it is, just that it's upsetting to the point. And here's the piece, that our conscious mind can't fully process it or doesn't want to process it. And so what happens is our subconscious mind neatly tucks it away so that the conscious mind can get on with our lives, get on with our everyday business. But the energy of that trauma, or whatever we want to call it, isn't released. And it just lays there, buried in the subjective mind, until some situation or event or circumstance triggers our felt memory of it. Remember, the subconscious mind speaks the language of feeling. So we feel it, and we feel the energy of it again. And again, here's our opportunity. We feel it and we tell the truth about it, about our fear of it from that higher place. We speak truth to that fear. We speak the truth of love, of God to it. And then we can actually process the energy and let it go and release it. Because this stuck energy can really get in the way. It can get in the way of the flow of God's good through us. So even if it comes up as some subtle little thing, we can still train ourselves to look at it and go, hey, is that true? I feel that we don't even really have to know the cause of the trauma. Just speak truth to it. That's not true. I really am a divine being. I really am an expression of the divine presence. So we need to, as Karen's song suggests, release and let go and let the spirit run our lives. And here's the thing. I truly believe that everything that happens in our lives, in our human experience, is for the support and the expression of our highest good. Whatever challenges us, whatever feels like it's contracting us, that is the path to our freedom. When we feel safe enough to walk through it and look it in the face from that safe and loving place of our own divinity, we transform it. That's the path forward. And this process doesn't have to be yet another traumatic experience, and it won't be if we view it from that grounded, safe, and secure place. When we look at it from the truth of who we are in God, when we resonate at the level of the all good. Yeah, I read a story about Einstein, when someone asked him how he managed to handle all the criticism that he was constantly being the recipient of, constantly being flung at him when he started exploring the theory of relativity, because that was a huge shift in the scientific world. It caused all kinds of unwanted ripples and changes. There was a lot of jealousy and envy and a lot of negative energy coming his way. And he said this, and I want to get it wrong. This is just a paraphrase, but I liked this story. Let me see if I can find his words. He said, I love this. He said, the arrows of hate have been shot in my direction many times, but they couldn't touch me because they came from a world which I did not inhabit. That's profound. The arrows of hate have been shot in my direction many times, but they couldn't touch me because they came from a world which I did not inhabit. Now there it is, a world and energy that he did not inhabit. We are vibrational beings. And when we lift our frequency and encounter the lower energy levels, maybe from the outside world or from things that we've neatly tucked away in our subconscious mind, when we recognize them from that place and remain within that safe resonance of God love, when we view everything from the higher perspective of infinite truth, we can greet it and transform it. Love is transformative. Love is transformative. You know, and developing that practice of living from the perspective of our higher self is, it's sort of like that story of the fish. You know that story. We probably all heard it, where the fish didn't know he was swimming in water. You know, the story goes that there were these two young fish swimming along, and they happened to meet an older fish who was swimming the other way. And the older fish nods at them and says, "Good morning, boys. How's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit. And then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" You know, we are constantly swimming in an ocean of God stuff, the vibration of God energy, even when we're not aware of it. But we can develop a pattern of living from our awareness that we are swimming in God stuff, that we are swimming in the essence of love, and we're empowered to participate with it through law. You know, we can practice living in awareness that we're always swimming in the God stuff, in the ocean of God. You know, and I like to use this analogy of swimming in the ocean of God stuff. I think it helps us to kind of wrap our heads and our hearts around the nature of the world and our lives. You know, imagine you're swimming in the ocean, and the water is the vibration of God, and the presence of love and good, and then there are all these other things in there with you, all this other kind of stuff in the ocean too. You know, there's other fish, there's boats, there's plants, there's pollution, there's friendly things, there's kind of scary things. And if our awareness is just in the stuff we encounter, then it can be kind of unsettling. But if we live in the larger context of the ocean of God, and not just the content of the ocean, the context is much greater than all the stuff floating around. You know, we're empowered to use the essence of this ocean of God, of its nature, to support us as we swim among the contents. And we're empowered to live free and joyous lives in its resonance. You know, there's currents in the ocean. We don't have to swim in the same current as all the other stuff, you know, and no matter what's swimming our way, you know, we can put our attention on the context rather than the content. You know, one of the practices that helps us, I mentioned this earlier, focus on the context of the ocean rather than the content, is the spiritual practice of forgiveness. Now, when I first started learning about practices that help me release my old stuff, old patterns of energy that had gotten stuck, wasn't really keen on practicing them. Forgiveness, that sounds very uncomfortable. But I now think of the practice of forgiveness as liberating and joyous and even exciting, because before I can do anything, when I begin my forgiveness practice, I have to make sure that I'm grounded in the nature of, in the presence of the God within me, which is expansive and comforting and joyful. This is where the true transformation happens. You know, Forgiveness raises our level of consciousness. It moves us beyond what we see and experience from just our human perspective, through our egos and our personalities, into what our God self knows to be true. When we try to forgive from our ego level, we just see the person or the situation we're trying to forgive as their error, as their guilt, as their mistake. And from our ego perception, we feel that we're just so darn spiritual that we're willing to rise above them and forgive. We can't see beyond the mistake if we're grounded in our ego. And from that level, we'll still be judging and blaming. It's not pretty. But forgiveness from the level of our God self is completely different. It sees the person, the situation, ourselves as the essence of God. That in our humanness, we have made a mistake. We've made an error. Sin is just an archery term that means we missed the mark. And here's the thing. The universe is not only self-organizing, harmonious and intelligent, but it's also self-correcting. And our errors are simply highlighting what needs to be shifted and corrected and transformed through the level of God's love. Forgiveness is not only a very valuable practice, I would even go so far as to say it's an essential practice, because whether we realize it or not, there is no spiritual bypass. We really do have to walk through the things that life presents to us. We don't have to stay with them. We don't have to believe them or make them our own or take them on, but we do have to recognize them and walk through them. We can't walk around them. But grounded in God consciousness, especially if it's something that had an emotional impact on it, we can feel it from that place. And it just feels like another human experience. From the level of God's love, we can transform it. And we do that grounded in the strength and the safety of the God self that's within us. And I would say that more and more, as Einstein wisely noted, when we raise our vibration, we begin to naturally live in that consciousness of wholeness. And the more we get to the point where they don't have such a negative impact on us. The things that are swimming to us in the ocean don't really fluster us as much, because we don't inhabit the same world or live in the same vibration. And in this way, I would say, and I'm not the only one who says this, this has kind of become a real known truth. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. We're the ones who are transformed. We're the ones who are liberated from our bondage. And we are the ones who are free to explore the full measure of the wonders of being a divine being, living a human life here on planet Earth. Because if we're holding something in unforgiveness, I don't know how else to put that, the message that we're imparting to creative law is that we're missing something, that something is missing in our life, or that someone or something, life, is withholding something from us. And then, as Holmes so wisely told us, the law becomes our law where we use it. And is that where we want to use it? And not where I want to use it. What we're setting into motion in our individualized creative law is the message that I don't have everything I need in my life. And honestly, that is simply not true in God. But when we forgive from the level of our God consciousness or our God self, whatever we want to call it, it's done in the present moment. We can't be focused on what happened before. We can't judge it, can't tell a story about it. We can't project into the future what might happen or our fears. We have to do it right now, in this moment, the power moment. That's where all transformation happens. We ground ourselves in the present moment through the felt sense, and it has to be a feeling of our oneness with spirit. And in this experience of oneness, we're also able to see our oneness with who or whatever we're forgiving. We are by definition forgiving, giving forth of ourselves and making a space for love. You know, it doesn't mean that we don't recognize errors or mistakes. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be BFFs with whoever made that mistake, with whoever we feel injured or betrayed us in some way. It means that we're releasing ourselves from the bondage of the error or the mistake by seeing it as it truly is. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Forgiveness is the correction of our perception. You know, and there's many methods of practicing forgiveness. There's books and books and books. But it can be as simple as closing our eyes, connecting with the love of our true being, generating a feeling of love from within, because it's all starts right here, and imagining the person, the institution, the situation, ourselves in front of us and saying, I see you. I see the light of God that you truly are, and I release you to your highest and best life. You know, I've done this with a few people in situations in my life, and it's powerful. I've done it with the spiritual tradition that I was raised in. I did it with something my father said to me when I was a child, and it stuck with me, and it colored my perception of myself and my view of abundance. You know, there are so many things that we can release and transform through the power of forgiveness. We're empowered through our oneness with God to change our perception from fear-based thinking and feeling to love-based thinking and feeling and being. So I invite you to this week always to practice forgiveness whenever and wherever you feel out of sync or uncomfortable, because forgiveness truly is the path forward. That making that space to recognize that we are constantly swimming in an ocean of God stuff. So let's pray. Let's just imagine that ocean. And let's just imagine ourselves in that current, that oceanic current of love and expansion. We are one with this resonance. We are one with the waves and the current that wash over us. How beautiful. And so I just speak my word for and about each and every person that is on this call and each and every person that is not, that there is a recognition of who we truly are, of how empowered we are to stand in this flow of this beautiful resonance of God and to live our human lives. And the more we live our human lives from the recognition of the resonance of this God stuff we're swimming in, the more the content of our ocean becomes beautiful and safe and friendly and supportive and abundant and healthy and whole and blissful. I'm so grateful for this. I know this to be true for us all. Right here, right now, we make that shift. We release through the power of transformative love anything that has up until now been stuck. And we swim, we liberate ourselves into the freedom of God's good, the oceanic, infinite ocean of God stuff. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. And I sit in this knowing that my words are power, that what I speak catches fire with the law. We're so blessed. So I just relax in this knowing all's well, and together we say, and so it is. And so it is. I'm going to change my view back to gallery so I can see all your faces again. Beautiful faces. Oh, well, what a lovely time together we're having. Thank you for being here. Our announcements are pretty much the same. We're doing Monday evening prayer group. Tuesday evening, we're going to do a few more. We're going to come together and do a few more of the party games from Thank and Be Rich. But I'm getting the feeling that the energy of this book is kind of waning, and maybe it's time for us to look. I don't know. We'll talk about it on Tuesday night. I think it's maybe time to where our class, the Law of Manifestation, is not quite complete. Ralane and I have been working on it this week, but we can maybe do something to fill in something a little fresher and newer, even though I have totally enjoyed this book. And Pam Grout's lovely sense of humor. I think we're coming to an end for it. There's no prayer group this week. There was last week, so the following week. Just as I was telling Marcia earlier, our next collaborative Sunday service with Ohm Center will be on September 1st, so keep that in mind. Of course, you can always connect through, thank goodness she's such a techie. She has Facebook, she streams, so if you're not in the area, you can still participate. I can't think of anything else at this moment. If you have had some unexpected largesse, financial largesse in your life, I invite you to please contribute a portion of that back to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. It keeps the pump primed and it keeps our center moving. So I invite you to do that. I think that's about it.
Well, Michelle, I think we need to do our contribution
Conscious giving.
and conscious giving.
Yeah, we do. And my bad. But thank you for
No, it's all
reminding
right.
me. I was going to do it backwards. I don't know why, because I forgot.
It's
All right,
fine.
let me get it up here. I don't know why it keeps telling me I can't minimize my screen while I'm recording. It's never happened before, but I can get there another way. I'm tricky.
So while she's pulling it up, let me just remind everyone that by giving to the center, you're giving to each and every one of us, and you're giving to yourself. You're giving back for the gift of our being able to come together and be with one another and be with spirits and work on our own individual transformation. And Michelle is going to find the little thingy
Well, I
that
did,
gives
but
you the address.
I did find it, but for some.
Well, one way is to go on, the easiest way is to go on Venmo and look for One Heart, One Mind or Reverend Michelle. Either way, you can contribute
Well,
from that
here's the
perspective.
slide, but for some reason my picture's gone. I had.
There you are. And then if you'd rather write a check, the address is down there at the bottom.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my lovely colorful picture. Heaven knows. And then we have our prayer. Hang on. I hope it doesn't do the same thing, but if it does, we can still read the words. Okay, it did the same thing. Okay, that's really weird. Technology is messing with me today. The technology gods are at play. Okay, and there is.
Aha. So perhaps we can say together, everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit, and so it is.
So it is. And so it is. Oh, well, thank you. And Lisa, why don't you do the benediction and then we'll play the music.
Okay. Well, why don't we pull together in the reminder that we are all one by taking a nice deep breath together. And together we express thankfulness for the opportunity to be together and to be reminded of things that are all for the benefit of our higher good and our higher learning, knowing that each of us has taken something from this service that serves our spirit, our soul, our transformative journey through life. And I know that as we go forth, we can go forth remembering that I am the flow of God, where I am the flow where God shows up. And to remember that that the importance of being brave, of looking at those things that we might see as negative and looking at them straight in the eye in order to release and forgive and move through into that higher space of love and joy, and knowing that all is well and all is working out for our highest good and the highest good of all mankind. And so I release my word with great thankfulness into the law by saying, and so it is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. I know you hit both songs in there. I love that. Hey, so I'm going to play something. I was sort of on the fence about what to play. I almost played Karen's song, I'm too blessed to be stressed, but which is really great. I guess I could do that one. I was going to play the Peace Train video because I wanted us to remember. I've played it before for you, but it's a video of people all over the world playing the Peace Train song. And it just reminded me of how connected we all are and how blessed we are to have such a rich plethora of beauty. So I think I'll do the Peace Train one, if you don't mind. Hang on. It was just speaking to me. We'll do that one. All right. Here it is. Share sound.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun.
Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's gonna come.
'Cause I'm on the edge of darkness, and there rides the peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home.
Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Peace train sounding louder, slide on the peace train. Jump on the peace train.
Rendin chomtima arkidam bada sayla demangaron unade kadi fani ma joni eto mandola arhab dam 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 bunam dam wadadi ma unade fani ma joni joni unsakongo
Peace train sounding loud, glide on the peace train.
Been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? The peace train sounding loud, glide on the peace train. Train, holy road, everyone
on, jump upon the peace train.
Come on, come on, come on.
Come on, ride on the peace train.
Come on, come on, come on. Let's come on, peace train.
Come on, come on, come on. Peace train.
Come on, join me. I'm jumping on the peace train.
Come on, the peace train.
Peace train.
Just such a feel-good video, people all over the world, just celebrating, and the richness. You can see the different faces, and I don't know, I just thought it was beautiful. Just we'll share Too Blessed to Be Stressed next week. But that's pretty good too. Okay, I am going to turn off our recording. Goodbye, recording people.